Welcome to Sub Week here on Starting Out Solitary. I'm Terra Incognita and I am your Tuesday sub host. Happy belated Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. Hello witches, it's Terra Incognita here, and yes, you heard right. I am now a sub host instead of a regular host. If you notice, during tax season, I was not here as much. It was really hard with work to do this. It was even worse on my personal channel. I wasn't even on there at all. So with time constraints, it's just really hard to be here, but I still enjoy doing it. I also think that we have this fresh new group of people, and it's kind of time to hand over the reins and see where they're going to take it and see what they're going to do with it, because, you know, this channel was started by new witches for new witches, hence starting out solitary, and I don't really feel that new anymore. Now granted, I'm definitely not seasoned, and it's not like I've been doing this for years and years, and I know I don't know everything because I'm always learning. But I don't feel as new as I did when we first started the channel. And so I think it's time to get some fresh perspectives. So I have stepped down as your Monday host, and Rhiannon took over for me. And now I'll be your Tuesday sub-host. So you will still see me, and you can always find me on my personal channel. But this week is all about Mother's Day, and yes, Mother's Day has come and gone in the U.S., but our schedule was a little off with the holidays. I think we have that fixed now. So we kind of took last week talking about gender roles, and we're kind of moving that into this week with the Mother's Day theme, so it's all kind of the same thing, because basically we're discussing if we incorporate Mother's Day and the feminine energy into our practice. And I have to say that yes, I do incorporate that feminine energy into my practice. I do definitely look at the female and male aspects of the divine. I personally believe that all gods are one God, and the one God is the universal energy, the divine source, whatever you want to call it. So that is my belief. But in that, I am a very analytical person, and I like to break things down and label them and compartmentalize them. And so I do, you know, divide the divine source up into God energy and goddess energy. And it just helps me by personifying that, the creator, the universe, the whatever you want to call it. It helps me to personify that so that I can kind of get a grasp on things and kind of take control of my spirituality. A lot of people are abstract in their thinking, and they're able to more generalize it, but I do break it down into the female and the male, or the masculine and the feminine. And when I say that I break that down into masculine energy and feminine energy, I believe that we all have the feminine and the masculine within us. I do not believe that women are specifically feminine and specifically, you know, and I don't believe that males are specifically masculine. We all have both within us, and it just depends on what kind of energy we're drawing on. But I do, when I'm talking to my gods, I do always talk to both. The male and female, it's pretty much all the time at the same time. I do go out and talk to the moon and worship the moon. I do go out and talk to the sun and worship the sun. When I cast spells and involve magic, I always involve both. And I have heard of practices where people specifically lean towards the feminine and they only worship the goddess, and I've heard of practices that are specifically masculine and they only worship the god, or they lean heavily to one side or the other. But I didn't come from any previous religious backgrounds. I didn't have any previous, you know, I don't specifically feel like because I'm a woman I have to worship only the goddess or anything like that. So when I jumped in worshiping both halves. I'm very much about balance and two sides to every coin, and the yin and the yang. I really love balance in my life and in my spiritual path, and so I definitely utilize both sides. And sometimes I break that down further and draw on energies of specific gods and goddesses to pull out aspects of different energies that I want. Like you saw in the beginning clip where I had the Brigid card drawn, or Brigid, or whatever you want to say, Brigid. On the other side of my altar, you would see that I have an Eros card drawn, and a God side. So I always have my Buddha and Tara statues on my altar, a God card and a Goddess card from my Oracle decks drawn, and I always look to both halves of the whole. So as far as Mother's Day is concerned, when last year at the time of Mother's Day, I'd started to hear about people incorporating Mother's Day into their paths and Father's Day into their paths, and kind of saying thank you to the God and Goddess on those days. And I thought, well, that's interesting, because I never thought about doing that. It was always just a day to be grateful for my parents and my grandparents. And I never thought about equating that to the divine. And so this year I was like, well, I'm gonna see how that goes. And I didn't do a ritual. I didn't do anything special, really. Just, at the end of the night, I lit my candles and looked at the goddess and kind of prayed to the goddess and just thanked her for everything. And it was very much like my phone call to my mother, where I called her and wished her Happy Mother's Day and told her I loved her and how thankful I was for her. And it was very much the same thing. It was a divine phone call, Happy Mother's Day. And it was pretty good. So I'll probably do something next year. Maybe do an offering or do a little ritual or something like that. But, I was just kind of dipping my toes in the water to see if it was something I wanted to incorporate into my spiritual year, I guess, wheel of the year. And I thought it was pretty good. So I'll probably do something on Father's Day as well. Like I said, this year it's just a little divine phone call. But it was funny because I Googled to see, I put, what did I say, Pagan Mother's Day or something like that, just to kind of see what came up and what people do for Mother's Day on their paths. But instead what came up was a bunch of Christian websites about how Mother's Day and Father's Day are evil because I guess they're rooted in the worship of the goddess and the god, and I didn't know that. I really thought they were pretty much commercial holidays. I didn't know that they had pagan roots. But apparently a bunch of Christian fundamentalists have declared that they are evil and that they should not be celebrated, which is very funny because isn't it like in the Ten Commandments to honor thy mother and father? I don't know. I'm not Christian, but I'm pretty sure that's one of them. And so to ban something as innocuous as Mother's Day and Father's Day and to say that it's evil, just come on, people. That's a little extreme. But I digress. So yes, I do incorporate the female and male energies. I did incorporate Mother's Day into my path this year, and I will also be incorporating Father's Day. And I think that is, pretty much all I have to say on that subject. And like I said, I do think that the masculine and feminine is within all of us. And I do think it's nice that we live in a society now where those lines have kind of blurred and we don't have so much of the social stigma of, boys have to be boys and girls have to be girls. And obviously there are still many, many obstacles out there for people who, males who tend to be more feminine and females who tend to be more masculine. They still have a lot of hills to climb, and, I applaud them for it. But it is nice that we live in a time where it is more socially acceptable and those lines are blurred, and it's getting to be more so as we go forward. So I am thankful for that. Because it is a social construct that I think we've created. And, yeah. So, okay. That's all I have to say on that subject for reals. I love you all. And I will see you the next time I sub or next month for Subs Week. Blessed be.